right, since my watch is broken, I'll call the meeting to order at 4:32. And note for the record that all commissioners are here. Suzanne is here, Maureen, Laurel, Mary Beth, Kathy McGannon, also present Jason Giel, Harriet Polanski, and our Trumbull Community TV, and our IT director, and our clerk, Barbara Crandall. If you'll join me in, I found the smallest flag I could so it will fit on the screen. We did the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of
of America
and
and
to
to the republic for which it stands,
one nation,
nation, under God,
indivisible, with liberty
liberty and justice for all.
It's funny, I'm like 3 words ahead of you because it's delayed coming through the computer. I'll start stuttering. Okay, reading and approval of the minutes. Did everybody get a chance to look them over, or do you need some time now? You good?
Good.
There's just one minor typo in number 14. I believe it should be a CNA, not a CAN for the village.
Yeah.
Just nothing that changes anything, but I was trying to figure out what a can was for the village, and I said, no, it's a CNA.
That's an auto correct.
Yes.
Always.
Yeah.
Any additions or deletions to it? No more other corrections? That's all right. I'll ask for unanimous consent to approve the minutes.
Aye.
Everybody good?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved by unanimous consent. All right. Also by unanimous consent, can we, I don't know, maybe I want it. Can we remove number 4, election of officers from the agenda? Anybody object to removing that?
No.
Okay, so by unanimous consent, we have eliminated number 4. If it shows up again next month, Harriet, I'm going to be suspicious.
Okay.
Sorry.
Sorry.
He did send a revised.
I'm sorry.
I thought Harriet did send a revised.
Yeah,
again.
I
Yeah,
Uh,
because we
it
have
was,
a
but
revised one.
It wasn't posted.
Oh, okay.
according- So we went back to the
Posted, right.
original and just are amending the agenda. Okay, treasurer's report and discussion of financials.
Thank you, Kathy.
You're welcome, Maureen.
From July 1, 2020 through December 31, 2020, the overall gain of the Housing Authority is $145,979, which includes all rental income, services income, and capital grant funding provided for the redevelopment, rehabilitation, and remodeling efforts. Now, if we take out the capital-related items, the Housing Authority has an operating gain before depreciation of $55,495, of which 57,000, excuse me, is attributable to the village, and a loss of $1,694 is attributable to the congregate. If we look at Stern Village, the current month's operating gain of $3,828 compared to the budgeted gain of $4,578. The lower than projected gain is due to the higher payroll cost due to finalizing the new collective bargaining agreement and 5 weeks of pay this month. Overall, rental revenues exceed expectations by approximately $3,450 due to a quick lease up of held vacant units, while overall expenses are in line with expectations. Now, if we look at the congregate, the current month's operating gain of $835 compared to the budgeted gain of $301, congregate continues to operate around break-even monthly and over the course of the year, despite higher than anticipated vacancy losses due to lower than expected heating repairs. Legal continues to be the primary cost over budget through December, which hopefully should level out as the year continues. The overall cash position of the authority, including reserves, is $1,171,647, which includes $568,052 reserved for renovation cost at Stern Village. Construction payables total $30,202. And the snapshot of the program you can see below. Congregate payable to village was paid down, and the $15,182 year-to-date increase represents December's cost share to be paid in January. Beginning June 30th, 2020, Stern Village is required to remit a portion of excess cash to DOH as defined in the assistance agreement relating to the Stern Village redevelopment. As noted in the above table, no excess cash was available as of the beginning of the year, and currently, no additional cash was generated this year and would be subject to recapture if not spent by year end. Management intends to utilize any funds to continue rehabbing units at Stern Village. End of the report.
Thank you, Maureen. Okay, and the financial reports you all should have received. Questions on the financials?
Kathy? I
Yes,
think the
Laura.
only thing I was really concerned about, and it appears Harriet sent that email out the other day addressing it, Count 4440, which was, I guess, involves part of that expense is the truck. And out of an annual budget of 5250, we're already at 4507. So I'm really glad you're cracking down on the personal use of that truck. Also,
I'm going to ask Harriet just to explain because I don't think everyone was on copy on this.
Okay, so, and this is pretty much typical of a lot of companies and public housing authorities. A lot of times head of maintenance is given a truck to use. There was never, it's not in the union contract. It was probably an old boys, the big wood handshake. So it came to my attention that the truck was being used when it really shouldn't be. So that's why I cracked down on it. And I said, the only time it will be used if for an impending snowstorm, that Jeff can take it.
Is Jeff the only maintenance man that is on callback for emergencies or for snow?
So we came up with a different plan this year. What
Okay.
usually happens is that Jeff always gets the call. And then Jeff ends up, if he can't do it, he'll call Renee or he'll call Fernando. The issue is that, well, unless they know ahead of time, they could be on other plans. So I said, from now on in, we're going to alternate. Everyone's going to have a week. And during that week, if it's Monday through Sunday, someone will be on call. And that person will know they're on call and know that if something happens, they can't go too far away from home or too far away so they can come in. So that's, that is something that I immediately took care of.
Harriet,
Yeah.
excuse me,
That's
Maureen speaking. Does that mean one of the ones that are on call, one of the maintenance workers is going to take that truck home?
No, I don't think they should. I think the truck is a THA truck and they should come. I mean, Jeff probably lives the furthest. He lives in Oxford. So, he has always been allowed to take the truck because of the weather. The other two live in, I think, Bridgeport. So it's really not necessary for them to take the truck home. If you have another suggestion or another idea, let's talk about it.
I would rather pay gas and mileage and have the truck on site.
Okay.
I just think that's wear and tear on the truck, taking it back and forth.
Yeah.
to Oxford, you're going to need a truck a lot sooner than if it stays on premises. And that way, so Jeff is sick or Jeff
Right.
can't get there, then the truck is there for one of the other two maintenance people.
Right,
That's fine.
that sounds good.
Okay.
This is Jason speaking. I just to add, I recall before Bob left that Bob and Jeff had more of an understanding as far as what they did. They didn't involve Renee. You could correct me if I'm wrong, Harriet. They didn't really involve the under guys between the two of them. They just flip flopped, right?
Yeah, I
Well, I
don't
think-
actually, I don't think Bob ever took the truck, to be honest.
No,
with you.
I meant on call.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I thought it was just between two of them and this whole Jeff asking them to help him on call is more of a new thing since Bob left. But
No,
So you had 4 maintenance people.
right, no.
Jeff is in charge, and then you
Jeff's in
had 3
charge.
others.
We had
Now
3
you have
others.
Jeff and 2 others.
Right, no, they were all on call, but a lot of times Jeff would be the one to do it. Where, now we're making sure that it's more evenly distributed.
Do you have a
And people
minimum,
know.
do you have a minimum callback time that they get paid for?
There's 3 hours in drive time, and
Okay,
there's also whatever time they clock in and clock out of to fix whatever is needed.
so they get minimum 3 hours and then anything on top of what they're doing there. Okay.
Correct.
Okay, which is not unusual. It's not unusual. But I would prefer that they use their own vehicles and keep that truck in as good condition as we can for use on premises. I just think it makes sense, especially since Jeff lives so far away. That's
Okay, thank you.
So Jason, if I'm not mistaken, is there not an income tax component to personal use of a company truck?
yes, I mean, it ends up being pretty de minimis, but still, I mean, you're talking a couple $100 a year that technically that's a benefit to Jeff, really, because he's the only one that's doing it that they really you guys should be complying with. And from my knowledge, it's never really been done at Trumbull. I don't know if that's, well, again, I think because of the way it was handled in the past, I think nobody really looked that far into it. But yeah, certainly you're not complying with, IRS compensation requirements. So, especially because it's not an accountable plan either, because you technically don't have it in writing. If it's not an accountable plan, you can't even argue your way out of it, really, because he's doing something without any kind of oversight for the most part, right? Other than
well,
his,
and the
position.
liability issues concern me as well. There's no agreement for him to use the truck. If there's an accident, if he's using it for personal use, there's a lot of issues that come up with that.
You're right.
If it's not in his contract and it's not part of the union agreement, he should not have it.
Perfect, thank you.
All right. Any other questions on the financials? Okay, Harriet, you are number 6.
Okay, so all residents have been informed of how to schedule their vaccines for COVID-19 if they are over 75. I also provide a form to the Department of Housing about the number of vaccines we need for the congregate and staff, and I wait to hear back. I have a call with DOH every Wednesday. Last Wednesday, they told us that by the end of this month, every congregate will be rescheduled. I will have more information this week. We received our FEMA reimbursement for our first application of a little over $7,500, which is 75% of the eligible amount. Our second application is on hold and requires further review. I have been on call with FEMA most of the morning. So when I say requires further review, it's based on the new FEMA guidelines that we hope to get set in place by the new administration. So I spoke to my two contacts at FEMA. After September 15th, 2020, FEMA changed their COVID-19 guidelines. Disinfecting for COVID-19 is used for emergency protective measures for public health facilities. Those are the ones that are eligible. So ours is being under review because they feel that once there's more money allocated for FEMA to deal with COVID-19, we will get reimbursed. And they're hoping in about 2 weeks, they'll know more about this. So it's not, no, it's just, you know, we're gonna take another look at the application and let's see what we can get reimbursed for. What's also interesting is that I was on a call today with Connecticut Housing and Finance Authority and different directors from there. And a lot of people were saying that they did not get their reimbursement from FEMA, even though they applied before September 15th. So they were looking at THFA for additional money for that.
How
So,
much was your second application for?
about 30,000. I'll tell you why. It wasn't, as I explained, it wasn't much different than what we had before. It was just that I added in, because Daisy, as you know, is a congregate manager, and she had a quarantine. So I also put in there the cost that we had for having our security guard in there. And then there were some, you know, additional things that we had that we actually, you know, fogged the community room and the and my offices. So I explained that to the two people I spoke with, and that pretty much is, you know, why. But I can't imagine not getting anything back. But at least the money that we did get back is deposited to the congregate, and you know that will be used to help offset some of the expenses that we have, right, Jason, for next month.
Right.
We did receive the check for the $500,000 for HTCC funding to be used to continue rehabbing the units in Stern Village. I do want to thank, you know, shout out to Tom Dorsey and Eversource for helping us for the third consecutive year. We hope to be able to rehab at least 15 units for existing residents in phase 1, which is 1 through 50. We've already rehabbed 14 in this section. We'll be saving 2 units to be used as temporary units or hotel units for residents to move in. We are going to sanitize, COVID sanitize by EP maintenance prior to someone moving into the hotel. So, you know, think about it. You have a hotel unit, it's clean, someone moves out, you have to sanitize for COVID. So Steve Jane, our project manager, is looking at the relocation costs separately and the sanitation costs for that too. As you know, these are the units that need abatement. I try to get some, I keep calling it brownstone, but it's not, it's brownfield money, and that's not available to us, but I am working to see if there's other money available through the EPA or things that we can do. So I haven't forgotten about that. And I had a great conversation with someone from Connecticut on MetroCog, who's also looking at things on our behalf. And Rena has been, you know, in the loop in all of this. Starting from March 1st to April 30th, all of our THA residents need to be recertified, except for ones that have been recertified, interim recertified over the last few months. Stern Village is required to do this every 2 years. The congregate must do it yearly. So letters explaining the documents required are going out Monday, the 1st. Residents must provide a proof of income for 2020 or 2021 and proof of any out-of-pocket medical expenses for 2020 only. So we always urge our residents to get printouts of out-of-pocket costs from their pharmacies. The pharmacies are very good about doing that. It just makes it much easier to calculate their out-of-pocket expenses. Heather and I are going to be doing all the recertifications. Due to COVID, We are asking residents to provide us their documents in an envelope, and we will call them if we have any questions. If they want to meet with us, to review the information, we can certainly do that. They can schedule appointments with Heather or me. Daisy will also do the rent recertification during this timeframe. In addition to that, Jason and I are working on a stratified plan to raise rents for the villagers. So this is a multi-step process which involves the CHFA and the residents for the village. The rent increase will be part of the 2021-2022 management plan, which you approve. Jason and I will provide you with our rationale as we move forward. We certainly do not plan on displacing anyone. I mean, that's not the goal. We will be reviewing everyone's income. Jason and I started working on, looking at this a little more closely yesterday when he was here. And we're also looking at the ability to absorb, residents' ability to absorb an increase. For the congregate, if we don't raise the base rent this year, last year, if you remember, we raised the services fee. Our 2021-2022 budget will not be approved. So Jason and I are also working on a base rent increase, which will be discussed. Again, for all rent increases, there's a process. Letters go out to the residents alerting them. We have virtual or in-person meetings to explain, and the board will need to approve the increase as we get closer. So I just kind of want to give you a heads up on that. We're still alternating weeks at the office, so working from home. My hope is that I can bring everybody back on March 1st. And one of the reasons is because Heather and I are going to be pretty much inundated with recertification. So, when you're in the office and doing your work, the phones ring, the bell rings, so you're constantly doing a lot of other things. So this way, at least 2 people will be here, and Paulette will be back as well. Paulette's working on a lot of DSS, which means Department of Social Service benefits for our residents, and Medicaid and additional services, including ordering items for a food pantry and keeping track of the cost. It's energy assistance time for our residents. Jennifer Gillis has got all the information she needs, and Heather, who's over in the office, has been faxing information for energy assistance to Jen Gillis. We're also working on a whole relocation plan which will be used for the residents, and a whole spreadsheet to make sure that we're not missing a beat. And also, as we do collect rent and everything else. That's about it for the village. I know the congregate is up next, and we can talk about that. Any questions?
I do have a question on
Sure.
the village.
Sure.
You're talking about raising the rents in the village, saying nobody will be displaced. So any resident that's unable to meet that new threshold for the rent will not be evicted from Stern Village? Yes or no?
Well, our hope is that everyone will be able to meet it based on, what the amount is. And that's something that we're looking at, because we certainly don't want to, have anybody that can't. We've had a stratified plan over the years where any new incoming residents would get the increase. But we still have the residents who are paying, $110 and $125. And a lot of our residents, that's called the base rent, but a lot of our residents pay a lot more than that over the years because of their, their income. I think we do have a couple, but we're going to have to look at their new income and things very closely. But I mean, right now, because no one's doing evictions anyway, but I don't plan on evicting. I'm hoping that anyone, we can work with everyone to make sure that they can afford it. Jay?
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the initial processes, right? Seeing, obviously this is going to cause, as it always does, a lot of questions and trepidation from the residents. Part of the initial process is to determine who and how it's affecting. Basically, a lot of times a base rent increase doesn't affect nearly that many people and really doesn't generate a lot of revenue per se. It only protects you from the future, meaning if that resident leaves, the next one comes in at the new base rent. For the most part, there are some that are in the probably the band where they're paying the minimum amount and their income probably doesn't let for much more than that. And those are the ones we're going to try to determine how many there are and kind of what the overall effect is. I think much of this is really passing on expectation that costs increase. I mean, their rents have never gone up as far as I know. I mean, maybe I don't like to use the word never, but to be at $110 means that you've been out there for, meanwhile, you've gotten Social Security increases for years. Granted, they're minimal, obviously. So the look is not to do a sizable, I mean, we're talking $10, something along those lines. Something to kind of just say, hey, it's, the realities of life is we have to keep pushing towards, what is, I guess, fair, so to speak.
So my question is, what is if someone were to walk in today, what is the base rent?
So for a small apartment, the small 1 bedroom, it's 500. For a larger 1 bedroom, we're only talking about, I don't know, maybe a few hundred, not even square feet. It's 550. So our plan is that anyone that is now at 500, 550, we would not raise the rent. That would probably be the most that they could pay,
So that would stay your top base
that would
rent.
be the top rent.
I think the focus is this one is getting everybody on the same tier of rent calculation. So a lot of these historical grandfathered, you might say, residents not only have the lower base rents, but their calculation is on a different percent of income. So they're
So
paying,
your initial look right now is to see who falls into what category, who's paying 100 as their base rent, who's paying the 500 as their base rent, and see how many are going to be impacted in each category.
right.
So
And more importantly, the 100 is also paying a lesser percentage of their income than the ones that are paying 500 in many cases.
So you're almost double whammying. You're going to raise their base rent and raise the percentage of their income that you're looking for.
Yeah, ideally the whammy is the raise in the calculation from the 27% to probably the 28%, up a percentage point. I don't foresee being able to go any higher than that. For reference, everybody else is at 30%. So the goal is to
And I would
get everybody
think
at 30. And to only do that and not a base rent increase, and we're kind of trying to look at, because there's arguments both ways, right? The percentage is going to hit the people that make the most, right? So even if your base rent is 110, if your income ends up being X, you could be paying, well, just throwing out numbers here, $1,000 a month, because that's what your percentage of income is.
Yeah.
If we raise that 1%, we're hitting those people hardest. And the ones that are only paying 110, they may not get any increase. So in order to kind of make the fairness, is you give them the base rent increase of $10. So at least they're getting a $10 increase.
We'll hear the wailing and the gnashing of teeth.
Yeah.
You absolutely will.
Yes.
We'll hear it. We'll hear it.
just to put this out there, when we had way prior to COVID, we started doing all the renovations. We had lots and lots of meetings. And the first question was, were you going to raise our rent because of these renovations? And I said, no, your rent will not be raised this year. So, I didn't say what next year would be or the year after, but I pretty much, kept my promise, if you will, to the residents. But we're banding everything based on our stratification. Jason, we need to, for the village only, we need to talk to Connecticut Housing and Finance Authority because they have to approve it and find out what they need from us. And then there's a process of sending letters to the residents, meeting with the residents, and, so forth and so on. Okay.
Is there a maximum that you can raise the rent, Harriet, after going through all the raising the 27% to 28%?
Yes.
Is there a maximum of how
There
much
is.
you can raise it?
Yes, it's either 15% or $50, whatever is less, but we're nowhere near that.
Just asking.
Yep. Okay.
All right, congregate updates, congregate energy enhancements.
Okay, I don't think Daisy's on the call. I'm not really sure. She said she tried to be on it.
I am looking to see. Oh, we actually have 5 people on the phone. So I will say, when it comes to those of you who are on the phone, when it comes to resident comments, in order to speak, you need to press *9 on your phone when you wish to speak, and then I'll rely on Bill to figure out how to get them, which is why Bill is sitting there.
So I'll talk about the congregate for a little bit.
Sure.
I do want to thank, thanks to Paulette, Heather, and me, if you will. We're promoting the congregate pretty heavily. And
I've seen the
Daisy,
ads.
yeah, and Daisy has been jumping on every single lead. I mean, I have someone comes to my office and says, I'm interested in the village. And we're like, well, we don't take villages right now, but tell me about yourself. And, oh, maybe the congregate is best suited for you. I walk them over to the congregate. So it looks like, it's my understanding, as of February 15th, she does have somebody committed for that. We will only have 1 apartment vacant.
Perfect.
Yeah, so that's
Great.
again, I've had people in the village who've committed, and then the last month they said no, but we're hoping. She also has 4 people on her wait list, and the congregate, Paulette's also helping the residents with other, state help that they might need, or if she sees that a resident really needs extra care, Daisy too, they call the family right away. Daisy is also in the process of looking at some additional social activities for the residents during the day. They're playing bingo, maybe we can do some card games. We said we had movies, but only 1 person showed up. So, unfortunately, I think of COVID, they're kind of in a little routine now where they know if they want to eat together, a few people at a time, spreading out in the dining room, they certainly can. But they haven't. A lot of them have just been taking their meals and eating out, inside, and they, might see each other. I'm not really sure. I know some people have bonded really well, and some might go to each other's apartment for movies or what have you. But she's trying to think of about a way to maybe, especially now because it's so dreary out,
Yeah.
old. So maybe there's some card games or things that she can do.
Well, there's the fear of being around somebody that, could be sick too. So it's, I think once it gets nicer and some of these restrictions hopefully are lifted, they'll look forward to some social activities. Although I have a son who said he was born to be socially distanced, so he's very happy that nobody comes near him.
Harriet, I see on the vacancy report that Unit N is going to require a lot of work to get it ready to be rented again. What happened? What's wrong with it?
Well, apparently I believe she was a smoker, a closet smoker, meaning that she probably smoked in an apartment, and it just, some people are cleaner than others. Let's put it that way. So, there's some things, walls have to be painted, a lot of patchwork to be done, that sort of thing.
Okay, but I thought maybe, pipes were bursting.
No.
Okay,
It's just, yeah, they've been working on getting the other ones together, so that's. why.
okay. And nobody could smell that she was smoking? None of the other residents said anything?
Well, I did get a
Hmm.
phone call from a resident who wanted to know what to do about people who are smoking. And I said, well, you can report them to Harriet. No, 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 no. I don't want to report anybody. I don't want to report anybody. I said, well, can you smell it? And he says, oh, if you're in the next apartment, you can smell it. But he never called back. I said, if you're not willing to report that it's going on, then there's no way for me to say, make them stop. So I just wonder if once the weather gets nicer and people can go outside, they won't be smoking in the unit. But I'm going to bet you can tell when you clean those heat pumps who's smoking in their unit and who's not, just by the residue.
Absolutely. Do you know if this was Village or Concord, Kathy?
It was Village.
It was Village.
It was
Yeah.
Village.
Okay. Yeah, Concord, we have a lot more control of them. Okay,
Is
so
there a fine at all if they're caught smoking in their unit? Is there anything? Is there a consequence? If there's no consequence,
we can send them a letter.
yeah, okay.
We don't
Fine.
find them, we have to prove it, but they all know they shouldn't, so.
Yeah. No, I'm sure there's enough of them doing it. Like smoking in the boys' room in high school. I did not smoke in the boys' room. I just want to make that clear.
So we can talk a little bit about the energy enhancements. We have our next virtual meeting with Laurel and Maureen is Thursday, but I know they want to start doing the valve replacements sometime in February. So that means they have to shut off all domestic hot water for 6 hours to install isolation valves that separates the building's water supply into halves. They'll shut down, that's day 1. Day 2, shut down all domestic water to the west apartments, which is 1I through 1P and 2M to 2T for 10 hours to place the individual hot and cold water isolation valves to the apartments. And then day 3, shut down the whole other side. So these are things that we need to talk about. A&B Mechanical is planning on having, I think, 4-man crews for the work. But, we need to start doing this. To be honest, I'm a little reluctant only because a lot of our residents have not gotten the vaccine yet. So I think that's something that we need, as much as everyone wants to start and get it over with, I get it. But I think that's something that we, Laurel and Maureen, and we'll all have to really talk about to see when we can do that. Because again, we've got to let residents know exactly what's going on. So that means.
If I read the report correctly on this, nowhere in the congregate are there individual shut-off valves so that they can work on one bathroom at a time. Are they installing individual shut-off valves during this renovation?
That's the idea.
Okay, all right.
That's
So
why
at
it's
least,
necessary.
but where do you go? Where do these people go when you don't have water?
Well, I mean, they can certainly still. Well, first of all, we would give them water. So we would give them some jugs of water to use during the interim, okay? And then, they can certainly use their toilet. They just don't flush it. And we're doing one side and another.
You know how many are going to flush just out of habit?
Yeah, I know. And then that's something that we need to talk about the meeting. There might be one bathroom that might be available each time.
Okay.
So we need to talk about that too, because there are 2 bathrooms downstairs.
Okay.
So we can probably have one and then, and have the other. At least that would be available.
Harriet,
It's the second
uh,
time. Problem.
this is Maureen. I tried here after we had one of our Thursday meetings, going 10 hours without water. Let me tell you, and I have bottled water, it is not an easy task. You want a cup of tea, you want coffee, all you're doing is drinking cold water. Yes, you can eat using the facilities, obviously the bathroom, that's out of the question. I think you're going to have more than one bathroom for the amount of residents that will need to use it. I tried it and I got like maybe 5 hours, 6 hours before I said, I'm glad I'm not in the congregate. It's not going to be an easy task. So we definitely have to make things a little easier for them, which is our discussion will be on Thursday, but for the timeline of all this.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can tell you right now, it's not easy. And this was a warm day where you could go outside and come back in and you could do whatever. And I kept myself busy. But try and stay in your apartment confined to the congregate building for 10 hours and not be able to use water. You're automatically going to go to the faucet. We're going to have a lot of water for them to use. If they want to eat, if they want to cook, if they want to do something that requires water. This is not going to be an easy task for them to do.
it's so automatic. It's like when your electricity is off. How many of you flip the light switch?
Right, of
You're wearing
course.
a flashlight and you're hitting
Yeah.
the light switch, you
Right,
know?
you're going to do the same
It's
thing in your house. Right,
Yeah.
because I did it. That's why I really tried. I said, I'm going to put myself in their position, see how long that this lasts. I can get out, so I didn't have to stay home. Another day, I tried staying home. It is not an easy task for them to do. Now,
Is
I
it
don't know what the
possible
answer is, but to go
when
10 hours a day for 2 days.
When you meet on Thursday, is
Yeah.
there any possibility of perhaps like doubling the crew to do those valves so
Well,
that
that's what I was going to ask about getting more help.
5 hours?
Yeah.
You know, if they can
Yeah.
double the crew for the portion that is going to be the most disruptive.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's definitely worth asking
Yeah.
because I think Maureen is right.
It's a daunting task.
Yeah.
I can get out. A lot of them can't get out. They can't even go sit outside because of the bitter cold weather that we're going to be
Right.
coming into. But even aside from that, the mere fact that you're in your house, in your apartment, for 10 hours without having access to what you're used to, it's not going to be easy. And we are going to have a lot of water there. Not just a few cases of bottled water, but you're
You
actually
need
going to have,
jugs of water.
yeah,
You need jugs of water.
we're talking water and we're talking if they have to
Um,
fix something for their meals. Now you're talking, I don't know what the time, what the start time is, but you're talking lunch and dinner.
Well,
So,
lunch,
lunch won't be a problem. They will
lunch
get
is
lunch.
provided. And maybe for that day, you have to think about providing dinner.
yeah, I was just going to say the same thing. I think this is something, but we have to discuss this before Thursday. We have to think about providing them lunch and or dinner. So we don't get the complaints about they're not able to have water.
Or they're not able to cook or they can't.
Right. Yeah,
Right.
they're not able to,
soup or- Yeah, you might
I
need
mean,
to have lunch,
yeah.
dinner,
Mm-hmm.
jugs of water,
Yep.
gallon jugs of
Yep.
water.
Yeah.
The cups, everything. I mean, there's more than just provide what I was trying to get across, and thank you, Kathy. It's not just water you have to provide. We're going to have to provide, like you say, maybe a lunch, maybe a dinner, breakfast, I'm sure. Yeah, what time are they going to start so they can have coffee in the morning? Are they going to start at 7 o'clock? You and I both know they're not up at 7.
Okay, maybe we can do coffee and pastries or something
I
too.
was
Yeah,
gonna
I
say,
think we're gonna
just
have to do
coffee
the
and
day
pastry in the
for
morning.
all the days
Yeah.
that this is going on. And that's going to be, It's gonna be a
Yeah.
little expensive, but you have to provide for them. You can't leave them without any of this.
And
I
then once
feel.
those valves are replaced,
Mhm.
then they can work individually in units, correct? And people will have their water, and
Oh, yeah.
so this is all to put in those individual valves and make it easy enough to turn off a couple of apartments to renovate a bathroom and so on. As far as that goes, the renovation of the bathroom, is that a one day they're in and out of your apartment, so you're kind of displaced for a day? Do we?
Well, that's something I think we have to bring up Thursday.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that too. We haven't gotten that far. I mean, that would be right after that, but we have been like going back and forth of how many days they're really going to need for that.
See, Kathy, the valves that they're replacing now, when the place was built, this was only these two valves were required.
Sure.
If they burst, the congregate will flood. So, I mean, it is
Yeah.
necessary. I'm not saying it's not necessary, but I'm saying in planning for this, we have to have, we just have to make it as comfortable for them as we can.
Right, as convenient, yes. And if it
Yes.
means that all three meals are provided for
Right.
them, and they just need their drinking water and maybe
Right.
a couple of gallons of water to
Absolutely.
wash up or whatever, but
Yep.
I do think that's gotta be, they
Priority.
feel comfortable with that before this
Yep.
begins. God forbid something goes wrong and it's longer. You
I know.
you
Yeah.
really need to have a
Yeah.
plan in place.
So
Okay.
they really have to give us a definite thing on Thursday, just exactly how long this is going to take without any unforeseen problems.
Okay. All right, I'm lost on my agenda. Where are we?
Yeah, I know we all are now. Review of drafts.
The CNA draft.
Yeah.
Are we looking at both the Stern Village and, oh, it's Stern Village and the congregate? What do you want? What do you want to?
Well, I think the first thing is really the grand spreadsheet.
Okay,
And that pretty much ties into the CNA draft for the village and for the
gotcha.
congregate. So,
Harriet, was the spreadsheet posted?
yes,
Posted on the website?
yeah, I gave it to her.
I
Okay.
printed off the whole packet from the
Okay.
website and I have it, Laurel. Do you?
I have it.
Yes, I checked it.
No worries. No worries.
Yeah. Nope, everything
Okay.
was given to her. Thank you.
Yep.
I mean, this is a really good picture. The things that we've gotten over the years. It's a nice snapshot. And it's great to look at this and figure out how to move forward. And, understand that these applications take a lot of work, especially the very large one we did. That was like years in the process because the state required so many different things that we had to provide them. HTCC is quite lengthy, and there's a lot of spreadsheets and documents that they need for that, plus quarterly reports. Small cities, thanks to Rena and Kathy and Vicky and everyone's team. Those are also, very time consuming. But I think a lot of reasons why we've gotten it is because we do perform. We get the job done. And, I've also gotten our delegates involved in any of these things to help push it forward. So as you can see, and Jason, feel free, because, I pretty much created this and Jason helped fill in the blanks when necessary.
I'm sorry, Harriet, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at Bill Chin's son, who is trying to.
I didn't even know this.
He insists on showing his tattoos, so I'm not laughing at you. I'm
Okay.
laughing at the antics going on over there. I'm sorry, I
That's
interrupted.
okay, that's fine. So, look, if there's money to be found, we're going to figure a way to find it. And, we do not want to give them any money back. okay, to the state. So as of now, as you can see, for the SSHP, that was the very big one that we got, we have about $78,000 left. So it's figuring out, okay, so what are we going to do with that? What is necessary and what hasn't been completed yet? Because we're looking to complete it in late 2021. However, once we go to closing for it, I don't know when we'll be able to get a lot of the money that will be owed to us. Jason, are you working on any of those closing deals with any of your other PHAs?
Yeah, just that it's taking a lot longer than you would expect. I mean, we're talking significantly longer. Through, I guess, no real solid reason that I can come up with. Just that things take time. It's bizarre, frustrating, really. So in most cases, because they're not, most contractors, in order to get lien waivers and things like that, aren't expected, I guess, to stick around and not be paid for the retainage for things that they already did, and that were cleared through punch list items and cleared. That the housing authority ends up fronting that money in a lot of cases, and then is waiting to get paid back, basically. Which for the most part, you are in the same boat, except for, I guess Bruce is still being held hostage. So, but that's what I've been seeing for the most part.
So there are a couple of things that are yet to do, and I mean they're not substantial items. Because of COVID, we had to pretty much stop the idea of putting in radon testing canisters. But the other good time to do that is March. So we're hoping that in March we get everyone tested. I mean, the radon systems are in, we just haven't been able to make sure that they're working the way they should be working and the levels are where they should be. So that will be March, but that's not going to be a lot of money to do that or even get the testing results. And after that, if we need to, tweak a little bit, we can do that. But that's definitely not $78,000 worth. We still need a rain garden, and we still need when I say beautification program, it's more of we need more plantings. Again, with these large, like the SSHPs, you have to use prevailing wages, Davis-Bacon wages. And the issue has always been that, hey, Fairfield County, we're not Tallinn, it's a lot more expensive. So I can get perhaps a beautification program, without prevailing wages, if we used our own funds, just saying, for like 25 versus with prevailing wages, it's at least double that. So, so those are things that we need to look at and figure out, okay, so what we're going to do, how we're going to spend the money to its best use. Let's see, you can see some of the others, some of the fees that were involved, some of the money that we never drew down or recouped. I don't think I need to go through all this with you, but if you have any questions, at least, you can kind of see, what we've done and where we're going with this.
I just don't want to see money go back because we missed it.
Yeah,
or-
right. We've got to spend the money.
And
No
I know
question.
even on the town side, we came very, very close to losing a very big grant and appealed to the state, and explained, why, and they extended it for us. So if we are in any position like that, let's get on it immediately and get,
Spend the money.
top story up there and get it extended because it was a major grant that we ended up using for roads. And had we lost it, it would have been a disaster.
Okay, I had a thought. I forgot my thought. Yeah, I definitely agree with you. So that's something that we're all working on. Oh, CHFA every few years or so changes. I say asset manager, but they call our properties assets. It's not like these are accounting or financial people. So the new asset manager we have gets it, if you will, and he's worked very, very closely with Millennium on different projects. So he's easy to work with. So I know Jason is going to reach out to him anyway for talking about rent increase. So this is something else that we'd be able to discuss with him. Well, discuss with Bruce. We have to have a call with Bruce and figure out next steps for this. You want to keep going? You want to move to
Yep,
the?
keep going. Yep.
So let's talk about Stern Village. So if you recall, in 2013, Connecticut Housing and Finance Authority did a study from on-site to prepare CNAs for the Connecticut Public Housing Authorities. Suzanne, I'm sure you've heard the story how many times already because you've been involved since the very beginning. So what they did, they pretty much did an overview. They did it for every single authority. And they missed a lot. They missed a lot in terms of prevailing wages for Fairfield County versus another housing authority. They missed things. They missed any energy efficiencies that we can get in. So what they did at that time, they deemed the THA pretty much current and at risk or critical and at risk, meaning that if we didn't start doing something, start applying for things, we would be in trouble. So and what they also didn't do, they didn't provide a clear strategy for sustainability without knowing that we had to get sizable state subsidies in order to do what we're going to do. So this study they did pretty much became the catalyst for evaluating our capital needs and then, getting us on the right path. So in April 2017, Wiles, who was picked as the architect for this particular project, presented a CNA that was part of this big application. It was approved the 5.3 million later that year, and the application called for additional funding sources in order to make the THA sustainable. So when you go to apply for anything, whether it's the HTCC or even small cities or this, they want to know who is going to be helping you. So we have a great story. So some of the story included, well, we have HTCC funding. Well, UI is going to kick money in. Well, the state, we're going to ask for small cities to pretty much show that, we have a lot of different buckets and how all these buckets would contribute to the overall of getting the infrastructure things taken care of and the things that we ended up doing. So the following kind of shows, everything that was involved in it. Again, we had the heat pumps, and the heat pumps have been great because they have lowered tenant utility bills by giving them air conditioning in all units, by giving them clean air, by being able to getting rid of the allergens, replacement of all the hot water heaters with energy efficient units, renovate kitchen and bathrooms, having ADA units, converting 19 one-bedroom units to ADA accessible ones, insulation to all the attics. When I say landscaping throughout the property, we took a lot of trees down that were needed, and I'm really happy about that because, knock on wood, every time there's a storm, I pray, and now I still pray, but I know that a lot of the trees are down. Added radon mitigation systems to all the buildings. We did repair a lot of the sanitary systems. We did add a stormwater management plan because we did have a lot of flooding conditions in the roadways and pedestrian walkways. We did widen the walkways. We paved the roads. We created additional parking spots. We replaced all the exterior windows, all the doors, all the roofs, renovated the community room, installed new porch columns, and we had to do a lot of regrading. So that was pretty much the bulk of all this. And then you can see through the HTC grants, as I mentioned, we were funded for 3 years in a row. In 2018, it was to rehab 24 units, including asbestos abatement. 2019, rehab 16 plus, including asbestos abatement. And then, now, as we talked about, to rehab another 15. Thank you for the small cities, which is heat pumps in the windows. And then, we do have UI incentives. I am also getting UI incentives for the energy efficient GE refrigerators that were put into the last round that we just did. And I'm actually have a call with UI, I think tomorrow or Thursday, to talk about that, of how much we're going to get back. I think it's about $100 per refrigerator, but I'll know more. And so, thank you. So 2019, the town paid the main loop as part of the road maintenance agreement. 2019, TD Bank Community Foundation grant gave us $55,000 to install security cameras in Second Circle. This year or last year, we got another grant for the food pantry, and I'm working on getting more money for the food pantry and additional money to put together like a little security package, if you will, that would include lanterns for the residents and some other things, but that hopefully will be a different type of grant pot. There may be some critical funding money available this year that maybe we can use, for something for the congregate. We can talk about that. So what's left? Well, we still have, out of 186 units, we still have 61 units have been rehabbed. We'll probably need about 110 out of that. 110 units will need to be rehabbed over the course of the next several years. So we can do we can give people, if we wanted to, we can give them a new stove, hood, or refrigerator. That would be about $1,500, let's say, if we did it for 50 units, that's $75,000. A walk-in shower is $3,000, about $3,000 plus or minus, and for 25 units, it'd be about $60,000. So I sort of took this and said, okay, so each year, if we have any additional monies, how we need to kind of put it back, because we don't want to make sure the state gets a penny of it. And our residents certainly, are in need of these things, because it's time to do whatever we can to make their lives more comfortable and rehab to the best that we can do. The heat pumps should last another 5 years. Some of them might need some replacement heads at the cost of maybe $500,000, maybe for some of the smokers. Again, because of COVID.
$500.
Yeah, maybe because of COVID. Again, we didn't do the inspections like we're hoping to do, but hope in the spring, we do plan on, God willing, do all the inspections, and we'll have a better idea of what's going on. And if an entire unit needs to be replaced, it's a whole cost for about $5,500. Landscaping, yeah, the community room needs landscaping. That costs about $20,000. Again, coming out of our own pocket, we don't have to pay prevailing wages for that. So that's why the cost is less. Security cameras, we are getting another security camera there's a certain area, as we talked about, by one of the, the laundry room on the hill. And we're going to get another camera over there to look, at some of the areas that face that. But if we wanted to do 12 security cameras to cover all the parking lots, about $10,000. We still need enhancements to the existing fire alarm system, and hopefully we can reapply for that small cities grant this year, because we have everything we need. We already paid our architect for that, and sometimes you got to apply a couple of times before you get the money. So that's pretty much it. It's just a matter of figuring out what we're going to do and how we're going to spend the money, the $78,000. And any other monies that we have. You're muted, Kathy.
Sorry, I'm muted because I have a house full of little children running around here. Do any of the commissioners have questions on the report from Harriet? Are we good?
We're good.
Laura? You're muted.
Question, Harriet?
Sure.
I muted myself. Just a question, Harriet. I've never really seen one of these before. So under on the second page towards the bottom, you have where there's 110 more units left to rehab. There's no dollar amount in there, but I think extrapolating how much the current 500,000 we got is only doing 15 units. I think part of that because of the abatement. That's like $3.6 million, I think, to rehab the rest of those remaining. Is that something that should be on that report of, how much more, just so we have a sense of,
Sure.
we know how much the
Yep.
cost and all that good stuff.
Yep. I'll definitely put that on there.
Huge number to
Yep.
have the rest of those units.
Right.
Thanks.
Sure.
All right. I have a mess of papers in front of me. Unfinished business. Is there anything
Oh,
that?
I'm sorry. You want to talk about the congregate?
Oh, yes. Yep, that's underneath here. Hang
Yeah,
on.
Okay.
3 more sheets.
All right. So,
Now I lost the congregate. Not
so,
there.
for the-
Okay.
so I'm sorry. So part of the on-site insight plan that was done by CHFA included a little bit of the congregate, but they really didn't get into any depth of it. So in 2015, Wiles did a preliminary one for the congregate, included building improvements to the building envelope, units, the kitchen, the quarters, communal areas. And then over the years, several improvements have been made. So 2016, we got a new roof. 2000, I'm sorry, that may be 2015. I'm sorry about that, as a typo. I'll have to check on that. And then we received, right after that, we got solar panels through Green Bank. Then we got a donation from, a 20,000 donation from Newtown Savings Bank, for installation of new windows to each apartment. We received UI incentives for congregate windows. We added an automatic door opener and fob system to allow residents ease of entry. We got critical needs funding for new sprinkler system, new generator, and also to improve kitchen ventilation. Like everything else, once you open up a wall, you never know what you're gonna find. So we ended up opening the ceiling for the kitchen. It was like a rat's nest. So unfortunately, at that time, I was told not to worry, and we can apply for additional funds for that. As it turned out that we were pretty much limited to whatever we ended up getting. So I think that cost us a little bit more THA for that. Now we're working on the small cities, and as you know, that's the rehab of the bathrooms to be ADA compliant features, walk-in showers, toilets, handrails, cabinets, floors, lighting, newly painting bathrooms, and then the new mechanicals. New boiler for heat, new boiler for hot water in progress. So based on what we were looking at, the elevator was installed in 1980. Elevator lasts 20 to 25 years. If we wanted to upgrade it, it needs about $20,000 worth in upgrades. And luckily, knock on wood, we haven't had any elevator problems, but
Recently.
recently. Thank you, Maureen. But I would like to get a brand new elevator at the cost of about $80,000. Air conditioners. We learned a lot by having the heat pumps, and it's been really interesting. Most of our residents love them because of all the good things they do, and they're saving if not 30%, 50% a month on their electric bill. Some of our older residents, have both on. And then they come to me and say, why is my electric bill so high? So we go over them and we say,
Yep.
well, let me tell you what you're doing, okay? I've taught them through how to use it. I've showed them how to use it. I can do the heat pump in my sleep. Jeff has gone over there, our maintenance have gone over to show people if they need any help with the heat pump, that's a priority. We go and we help them with that. But so what we learned about the heat pump, as much as it really is a great machine, for some of the elderly and frail residents, they'd much rather have their baseboard heating. So for the congregate, we're paying for heat anyway, so it really doesn't matter as much. So my thought is, in the beginning, it sounded really good to have the heat pumps. As it turned out, we couldn't even get it into the budget for the small cities. So we took it out. However, the air conditioners do need to be replaced because they are pretty old. And then there is a recovery air ventilation that's probably about 25,000 plus or minus that we need. Let's see, sidewalk, a section of the sidewalk is uneven, need a repair, and that is something that, so now you're repairing that, you also have to regrade the whole pathway to the congregate. So that's the cost of that. And then, it was, we thought about, all right, so what's important? Yeah, the apartments are nice. Sure, they can use new cabinets, new appliances, maybe some additions, but they are getting a brand new bathroom, which is important. And, everyone keeps them very tidy. I mean, what these people have done with this small space is just gorgeous. So I have one resident in the congregation has a Murphy bed, which is great. And, it gives her a lot of room. But they're out a lot and about, when there's not COVID, and it'd be really nice to have the floors done, new handrails, work on the corridors, do new lighting. As much as the dining room looks nice, I mean, new furniture, floors, painting, lighting, windows, ceiling replacement, and then the apartment finishes and the lobby upgrades. So my feeling is that a lot of these things, an elevator, the air conditioners, the recovery air ventilation, probably the sidewalk and maybe even the corridors might be able to be taken care of with an HTCC application for 2021. What's great about the HTCC application, even though it is, quite lengthy and time consuming, and that's why everyone, we use consultants for that. And I am getting cost of what consultants would charge to do that. A lot of these things can roll under there without a problem, since we do have a story that we've had HTCC in the past. We're already, using small cities to do a lot of this, and everything that I talked about, that, the first page, really adds to the story about why it's important for the congregate residents to keep going with the rehab. So that's pretty much it for the assessments. And I think that, we'll look at this. I think that, quarterly, we definitely have to do the funding and grant spreadsheet. And then this can be, not updated every 5 years, but updated, as needed, let's put it that way. As new things come in, as we go after new monies, I mean, these are things that we need to do. Excuse me.
A lot of work to do.
A lot of work, but it's all good. Kathy, unmute yourself, please.
I'm really not all that interesting. I said a lot of money needed to do a lot of work.
Yeah.
Sure. All right. Thank you for all of that, Harry. There's a lot of information and a lot of explanation that we could use. And I do want to thank Jason for spending some time with us the other night, just going through a lot of the financials, so we understood I understood where we stand. Under unfinished business, and I guess it would go under that. Harriet, you arranged with a contractor for snow removal. Are we set on that, or you just talk to people, when the snow is more than your maintenance people can handle? We
Yes.
have some backup?
Yes, absolutely. And
Okay.
I did call the place where we are buying the equipment from, and it's like,
Uh-huh.
we get a little sooner, and they said, no, right now we're still on target for middle of February. So,
And there was no lease and there was no, we're paying.
no.
for it. Okay,
Fine.
okay. All right. All right. Any new business anybody wants to bring to the table? Did Bill Chin leave me now that I'm ready? Oh, no, he's like, say, do not run away now. Is there anyone who is on the phone who would like to comment or participate in any way? And I think in the future, I will move the comments further up in the agenda. So they don't have to stay on for the entire meeting. Do we see anybody, Bill, that's? There's
Yes,
somebody-
it's phone number ending in number 239. You should be able to speak now.
Okay. Whoever's number ends.
Hello?
Hello, welcome.
Hi, this is Michelle.
Hi, Michelle.
Hi. I just have one question. For the redetermination, I was with Trumbull Pharmacy, and they closed up, and they sent everything over to CVS Pharmacy.
Correct.
And when I called CVS Pharmacy, they didn't know their left hand from the right hand. And I was going over to Medical Arts because CVS doesn't deliver. And they wouldn't send my breathing medication over to Medical Arts Pharmacy. And then when I said, well, do you have a receipt of everything that, I purchased in last year, they says, oh, no, we don't have that. We can't give you anything like that. I do have my receipts that I can tally up, put a note on them and everything, but as far as getting a printout from the pharmacy, that's something that's not going to be able to happen.
Michelle, if I may, that's fine. I just thought I'd make it easier for some people do, some people just give me the receipts and I add them up for you, so that's not a problem.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Thank
we'll work with you. Sure.
I'm glad you were able to get on, Michelle.
Thank you. That's all I had. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to make a comment or ask a question?
Looks like the phone number ending in 300.
Okay. Okay, ending in 300, you can speak now.
This is Debbie Danskoy from the Congregate.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm good.
I am good. My question is about, of course, the rent increase that we will be getting. And my issue is we have our entertainment as part of our core charges here, which we have not had. It'll be a year in March. We had them come twice when the weather was nice outside, but, we pay for that. And, we're not getting it, but yet, once again, our rent is going to go up. And I understand all the circumstances, but we also have COVID going on, and we're struggling. We're struggling with our minds, number one, here, trying to function every day. And then we're going to get hit with something like this. I just don't understand. I don't understand how you guys can do this once again, 3 years in a row, Hello?
Okay, well, first of all,
I wanted to make sure you were done. I do appreciate your comments, and I'm sure it will be taken into consideration when the rent increase is discussed. You know, I hate to see it, but I'm also on the town side. I hate to see taxes increase. I know food has increased, everything has gone up.
Everything.
Everything has gone up, and I feel your pain. And I trust that Harriet and Jason, when they sit down, they will work out something that's fair and equitable for all residents based on their individual circumstances. So
I just feel like every time we get an increase in our social security, which, you know, isn't much, then it's taken away and it's going towards our rent.
Yeah.
So, you know,
I
it's
feel your
just
pain.
frustrating, you know, very frustrating.
Okay. Thank you for the comment, and it will be taken into consideration, I'm sure.
hey, Deb,
Well, thank you for listening. Yes.
Debbie, hey, so, you know, this is great. So I want to introduce you to Debbie. She is amazing. She helps all our residents. She's like our cheerleader for the congregate. Debbie also helps.
I'm the one with the Murphy bed.
The Murphy bed,
I
yes.
think they're the best things in the world.
You know, she,
I have 6 kids. I would love to have closed them all up in a Murphy bed for the night.
Yeah, right?
Let them out in the
you know, Debbie has been an incredible resident. She's helped Daisy in so many ways. She's helped me. I mean, Debbie, we said that unfortunately, since Tina can't be on site, you know, Debbie's been the one that says, "Hey, come on, let's go play game. Let's do this, let's do that." So, you know, she is just remarkable, and we really, you know, you're like our gift, one of our gifts for the congregation. We really appreciate all you do.
Well, thank you.
Well, we did
I
definitely.
do it with my heart. I do it because I love them all here. It's like one big family, so
It is.
it really is.
Thank you for your comments.
All right, thank you for listening.
Not a problem. Anyone else, Mr. Chin?
Yes, number ending in 958.
Okay. If your number ends in 958, you're invited to speak. Hello?
You may need to press *6 to unmute yourself. There you go.
This is Mark Esposito.
Hi, Mark.
I have a question with Harry. Harry, you said that you would like to get everybody vaccinated by when, the end of March?
No, Mark, what I said that I'm hoping that my staff, that everyone can go back to their offices by the beginning of March. Are you talking about opening the community room?
Yes.
I am.
Yeah, I know. Let's shoot for the spring, you know, believe me, I walk in there every day and it's like, God, this place is so gorgeous. I wish we can share it with everybody.
Oh, yes, I know. I understand. And another question I have for you, Harry, is about the water crisis. Is that going what the villagers too, or is that just the congregant?
You mean what we discussed earlier about the things?
Yes.
No, that's just for the congregant, Mark. You have a water.
Oh, okay. And then I have one more question. Well, I'm sorry to take this much time up.
Not at all.
But
Never.
about the heat pumps. Now, we had them thoroughly cleaned in October. Now, are we scheduled to have them done again, or how often are we gonna? How often are we?
So Mark, we're budgeted to have them thoroughly clean once a year. But in the meantime, when Jeff and Renee and Fernando go back and do their inspections, they will certainly look at pumps and decide if anyone needs a new filter, if it needs to be cleaned, if any additional work needs to be done.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you, Mark.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.
Any more, Mr. Chin?
I believe that's it.
Okay. All right. I appreciate you staying on for so long and commenting. Anybody have anything else, or can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Maureen second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody, and
Thanks, everybody.
we'll see you in
Thank you.